also at the outset of my remarks thank all those groups who have campaigned so steadfastly on this issue for so many years. In particular, Raja Najabat Hussain and the Jammu and Kashmir Self-Determination Movement, who works tirelessly to keep up the profile of the issue of Kashmir with MPs. Also, Fahim Kayani and the Kashmir Movement UK, Sabir Khan and the British Muslim Women's Forum, Azmat Khan of JKLF, Najib Afsar and the Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Council, and Dr. Saeed Nazir Gilani and the Jammu and Kashmir Council for Human Rights. Yes, I'll certainly give well.
I'm very grateful and congratulate the honourable gentleman on securing today's debate. Can I just ask the gentleman just to perhaps also put on record thanks to all those ordinary Kashmiris in this country and back in Kashmir who fight time and again in a peaceful manner to get this issue high up on the agenda so that we take some action.
I'm grateful to the honourable member for raising that, and we certainly do put that on the record. Let me explain why this motion is being brought before the House today. Essentially, it is because this matter really matters to thousands of my constituents who are of a Pakistani and Kashmiri heritage. And I know it matters to the constituents of so many of the members in the House today. Many of my constituents have family in Kashmir, and in some cases they have personally lost loved ones or seen loved ones scarred for life as a result of violence. For those who may not be familiar with Kashmir, it is an area of territory which runs across the border between Pakistan and India. The root causes of the conflict can be traced back to 1947, when the colony of India was granted independence by Britain, and it was partitioned into two separate entities, India and Pakistan. The state of Jammu and Kashmir, with a predominantly Muslim population, but a Hindu leader, shared borders with both India and West Pakistan. The area has a long and complex history, and obviously there is not enough time today to go into all that history. But suffice to say, the argument over which nation would incorporate the state led to the first India-Pakistan war in 1947-48, and there have been several further upsurges in the conflict since then, and I do not need to remind the House that these are both now nuclear powers. Just to complicate matters further, some of the historic territory of Kashmir is now under the control of China. I am pleased to see my honourable friend, the Minister for South Asia, in his position, and I am grateful to him for taking the time to meet with members of the All-Party Group on Kashmir recently. I know he will be aware it is the fact Britain was responsible for the partition which leads many in the Kashmiri community to believe this country could and should be doing more to try and help resolve this matter. The fact that the partition was 70 years ago demonstrates the intransigence of this problem, and I am under no illusion that there are any easy solutions. There are two areas I wish to cover today. Firstly, the recent increase in violence and human rights abuses, and secondly, the longer-term issue of trying to resolve this long-running conflict. The most recent increase in violence began last year, when on the 8th of July, 22-year-old Burhan Barney was killed by the security forces in India-administered Kashmir. Tens of thousands attended his funeral, at which clashes broke out between the security forces and protesters. Security forces fired live ammunition into the crowd, killing several people, and a police officer was also killed. Since then, the authorities have declared a succession of curfews and closed down mobile phone services and media outlets. Attendance at mosques and adherence to religious practices has been restricted. Protesters have organised a series of general strikes, and there have been regular public rallies. Schools, colleges and universities have also been closed. The economy has been badly hit. Funerals have often led to further clashes between protesters and the security forces. Critically, scores of Kashmiris have been killed. Many thousands of civilians have been seriously injured. Yes, I'll certainly give it to them.
I thank the
honourable member for securing this very important debate. The honourable member quite rightly points out the recent escalation in human rights violation, but will he accept that this is a much longer term problem, and in fact human rights violations have happened in that region for decades?
Mr. David Nuttall.
Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful to the honourable member for raising this. As I said earlier, there is a very long and complex history to this issue, and as the honourable member says, there have been many upsurges in violence over the years, and as he will be aware, there have been many human rights abuses which have been catalogued and recorded over the years. Yes, I'll certainly give words.
Would he agree with me that it is imperative that an international investigation into those human rights abuses is carried out as soon as possible?
Yes, I do agree with the right honourable gentleman, and it's something I will mention briefly later on in my speech. The use of pellet guns, Mr. Deputy Speaker, has left thousands of people, including children, injured and in many cases blind. Armed militants have increased their attacks on the security forces. In September 2016, an attack on an army base killed 19 Indian soldiers, the army's worst loss of life for well over a decade. There has been a serious flaring up of tension between India and Pakistan, with regular exchanges between their forces along the line of control. These have led to significant military casualties. Senior figures on both sides have been matching up the hostile rhetoric, leading to growing fears of another major escalation in the conflict between these two countries. I know the government are concerned about any allegation of human rights abuses. Ministers have said so many times in answers to both oral and written questions, but I do urge the Minister to condemn these attacks and the use of pellet guns.